But I wish I would have been around it. You know, I love the Warhol stuff. You know,
I do as well.
You know, we tried to do a Warhol type sleeve, and it's not as easy as people think on weekends. Yeah. The single have to come back. And I asked the guy who done loads of great stuff to do as like a Warhol type thing, and it just don't look like it. You know, it just looks like somebody's done a really bad painting of you. But I love Warhol, and that's why we call the album the Handy Warhol, as well as you know, a thing like the Complete Angler, Handy Warhol, which some people didn't get was Handy Warhol. Yeah. No, I mean, I've had letters of people going, I just got onto the title, you know. It's like,
I know, because I was reading the sleeve notes, and I thought, I was just thinking, you know, because sort of knowing the gist of you, what's been written, you know, and obviously, and then I thought, yeah, the guy makes sense. Some of it can sometimes be a wee bit.
How do you think I feel? I mean, there is a certain sense to everything I've done, you know. I do. I'll start off by, you know, as an example of that, I was with Kev Mack, one of my best mates, in his office, and, you know, he said, you know, what are you going to do and what's going to happen next? And I said, well, you know, I'm going to do a record and I'm going to do some stuff. He said, you know, it must be great. Kev used to write for the NME and work with Steve Lamacq on Radio 1, as I say, one of my bezies. He said, it must be great for you, man. You've actually got to do what you wanted to do. And I said, yeah, it's true. He said, yeah, you got to make records and do gigs. I went, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do nothing. Yeah. I mean, genuinely, my idea was to do nothing. And my thing, like the situationist thing of Dayreeve or Drift, you know, and I got to do nothing. Yeah. And occasionally make records, which I love doing. And I only ever wanted it to be for love of doing them, which is why I don't make records all the time. And I hate the way the music business is. But instead of, you know, a lot of people hate it but stay in it. Yeah. I can't see any justification. I need money. I need to make money. I don't make money. I'm happy to sign on. If I have to sign on, I'll sign on. Yeah. Yeah. I've never got royalties from being in a band. I owe record companies. I'm a minus millionaire. I owe record companies about £2 million. Not that I'll ever have to repay it. But that's therefore I don't get royalties out of anything we do. Yeah. There are now two of us living on the same income. But we have a good time.
Well, there was something I read about you saying that your main ambition when you first started out, or it became an ambition, was that you just wanted the WA to fill Wembley Stadium, whereas the record company just wanted you to sell records.
Yeah,
and that's when.
Well, we had a purpose as well, you know. There was a purpose to what we did, and my solution was always, I used to go on strike. I'd say I was on strike. Like I went on strike last year and I called it Culture Strike because it was the year of culture. Me and Mares and the band did the opening gig, which was a buzz.
Yeah, seen that. That was excellent. That was excellent.
That was her first ever gig. You know, you know, she'd been in an orchestra. She played saxophone at university and was in the orchestra and stuff for the band. But her first gig was in front of 12,000 people, and she just took it in a stride. And, you know, and she's great to play. You know, we're going to make an album together. Brilliant. We're going to make. You know, she's going to sing on the new stuff. Yeah. On the Pete Sounds stroke Slime combination. Yeah. But we're also going to just do an acoustic album of, you know, all those songs. That, you know, I never really thought about it. You know, songs that are Story of the Blues, for example. It's always we're using that as an you know, it was a big studio production, and half as big as Liverpool. Big studio productions, and I go and play them acoustic. And then it's down to you and whether the song's any good and the way you perform it. Yeah. And we do them well together. And I just thought we should do an acoustic record with all those songs they love, and then do other stuff, you know, like do the Jethro Tull Life's a Long song, and do the, you know, the easy Tim Buckley songs, the hard ones, very hard. Yeah. But you know, I just do things we like and stuff she likes, you know, and I mean, you know.
The sort of the means is there. Yeah. This is one of the things we were talking down at Power Street earlier on was he's recording, but he's afraid to put it out because he's gone so long without having a release. Now,
see, my thing is, the longer you go without releasing something, the better your reputation gets. Yeah. I did the TV show, the BBC stuff about the best decades. We do the 70s, right? And I went great because that's Bowie, punk rock, and the start of our stuff, and so I could talk about all that. And then on the day, it was in Manchester, they said, listen, we've got someone to do the 70s now, can you do the 60s? And I went, of course, you know, because I love all the years. And then he got somebody to do the 60s, got Ed Pillar. And so they said, look, we can't get anyone to do the 50s, will you do it? And I loved the 50s, but it wasn't me prime it, but I know my stuff. And I ended up I've ended up loving going back myself to the 50s stuff and the rawness and the simplicity of things, and when things were done without a manifesto of how things should be, before the books were written about what made us rock and not rock, you know. And there's going to be elements, it's going to be, the next stuff is going to be much more primitive. It might still be wall of sound, bigness, especially now that Phil Spector's in there. Someone's got to do it. But it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be more like, you know, I don't know, except that's the thing, the songs change as we go, as we do them. And I started talking about something completely different. I mean, no, what I said was, I do remember, I said, you know, Elvis is underrated, and people kind of laugh and think it's a good line, you know.
Yeah.
But I said, you know, you take the very best of Elvis, or even Cliff Richard, he's a better example in a way, because his early stuff and some stuff is great, but everything else, it becomes a fraction. So there's the good Elvis or the good Cliff Richard above the line of the fraction, and below it is all the crap stuff. Yeah. And the more crap stuff, so you only have to have one good record. Yeah. And you only ever make one good record. And so it's 1 over 1, which is 1. You make 10 great records and 1,000 shitty pieces of crap. You divided 10 by 1,000, which is 100. Are you with me? Yeah. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah. But no, I do, you know, and so people who were brilliant become less good when you see them. But that's why dead rock stars are better. Yeah. Not that they're better intrinsically. A, they can never let you down, as people have said before. But B, they then don't do their knitting album or their harmonious nose flute recordings, you know what I mean? So you never go to say, well, I love that, but I don't love that. Jim Morrison made 6, 7 records, and they're all really good. Yeah. But even the ones that aren't as good aren't so terrible that we ended up going, you know, you're rubbish actually. Yeah. Velvet Underground, another great example, you know, the less you do, the better in a way. So even though I never planned it, and I've never planned very much, the idea of not making records has worked out for me, and I like things better now. Although it's kind of hard when you haven't done it for a while, like you talking about Tom Lang. It's hard to just really start. You lose momentum, you know. And I've lost momentum so many times, and you know, for longer, you know, after the Story of the Blues, I had like a year away. After Come Back, I had 2 years away. After Sinful, I had 4 years away. After that Infamy album brought me back, so I had 6 years away. Yeah. After the last album, I've had 10 years, so it gets bigger and bigger. Yeah. It's like Fibonacci numbers, is what you call them. Yeah. But now and because I'm older, and because whereas before I could just draw on mates to help out, that's a big thing. You know, I can't just walk into the Zanzibar tonight and say, do you want to be in a band with me? A, because most people would rather be in a band with someone their own age, and most people my age are dead. Yeah. And the other side of it is they all want paying. Yeah. You know, and they think, people presume that you've got money to pay because you've been on Top of the Pops in 1983 or something, that you therefore have got a fund, and I haven't. I haven't got a fighting fund. Yeah. And so that's the other thing. I've got mates like Yorkie who was in space, and like one of my best friends again. And he comes and does stuff and mixes stuff, because I don't like mixing. Yeah. Like, I mean, I just have it all in, or everything louder than everything else, and more and more. And let's just put one more guitar on. There's much more guitar-y, this new stuff, by the way, much more of me in the elements. Because that's the other thing. I think people, when they work in the music business, when you've got to make an album every year or every 2 years, well, that's just a job then, isn't it? That's not interesting. You make a record whether you've written great songs or not. What's the point of making a record unless you think the songs are brilliant? Yeah. You know, well, I've written loads of great songs. You know, I've written some of the best songs. I played in Paul Denoyer, you know, the guy who wrote The Wondrous Place with The Enemy, Weird Journalist. And he said they're as good as everything you've ever done. Yeah. Which either means he thought everything was crap, and this is crap too. But I don't think he does. He said, you know, because of the way my inverted commas career has gone, it doesn't matter that I haven't made a record for 10 years, because, but you know, I've never made records on that basis. No. Yeah. When I was young and full of spunk, I was full of let's do more. And then, but even the first album, I wanted to make it the most horrible album you could get. Well, I wanted to ruin what we were doing. Yeah. You know, I'd read stuff about, you know, situationists and deconstructing things and all that stuff that we were all into in post-punk times. But most people actually spouted it but didn't do it. Yeah. I did, you know. And even that's even down to the name change. People kind of treated that as a, you know, from Wahid to Wah to the Mighty Wah to all the others. And there are some that never ever made records. You know, there's a Wah now that I've got that no one will ever know about. The Top Secret Wah, Porno Wah.